And are there multiple reasons why you were away from the screen?
Yeah. I was bored. I was not doing anything different. I was not growing as an actor or as a person. Because you see, when you spend 6 months to a year on a film doing nothing, those 6 months and a year never come back. They're gone from your life.
Right.
And as an actor, which I have now come to realize even more so, that if you don't go and observe life, participate in it, you don't become a better actor. It's kind of like a catch-22. You need to spend time outside of that art to imitate art.
So you were bored of the stuff that was being given to you? Like,
Absolutely.
Like, say, your last Bollywood film before Arya would be, say, a
No Problem.
No Problem?
Yeah.
Or a Dulha Mil Gaya, and there's a whole lot of them.
No Problem was the last one.
That's when you said, I have a problem here?
Yeah.
Solve this?
I said, that's when I stopped saying no problem. I say, no, we got to face the problem. And the problem is this is not working. And I had just become a mother again. And Alisah was even younger than Renee when I adopted her. And
how old was she?
She was a month old.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
so even I had to learn how to be a mother to a month-old baby.
How old was Rennie when?
6 months.
6 months, okay.
She was 6 months. And you know, from a month to 6 months is a big difference
Right.
in the way that you nurture a child. And I was like, you know, I can't leave her with her nanny and be doing something I don't like. I love this. So let me do this, right by something. And of course, I did have my then manager and people from the industry, friends, who said, you know, this is harakiri. You're making a very big blunder. This is the prime of age and whatever as an actor. You don't quit at this point. I'm not quitting. I'm just
Taking a
taking
break,
I'm taking a. Who takes a break? I mean, you know, it's a very male-driven industry as it is. So you have only that much time to look your best. And I said, you're probably right, but inside there's a voice that's saying, no, don't do it. And I have to listen to that voice because it has worked for me my whole life. I am where I am because of that voice. I cannot not listen to it. So I took a break, and that break just continued because the scripts that were coming, they also dried up, obviously, because you're not visible in a very visible.
जो दिखता है वो बिकता है.
जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. तो वो भी आने बंद हो गए. But I started seeing a life grow in front of me,
Okay.
Alisah, and turn out to be a beautiful human being. And I was a hands-on mom. During this time, though, I do have bills to pay, and I am a single mom. So we did have Renee Jewelers, which is a jewelry brand that we have all over the Middle East. We're in Dubai, we're in Bahrain, we're in Doha, Kuwait. So we were looking into that. And meanwhile, I was doing some endorsements. And the Miss Universe organization called me and said, would you like to take the franchise?
Right.
I was like, what? Really? Like, that's a dream. It's a payback of sorts. So I said, yeah, what does it entail? Because I had never had direct relationships with vendors before. As the star.
Right.
Everybody does everything around me, and I don't even have like anyone's number.
We can see that.
Yeah, no. And so I got grounded, and I realized how to deal with people. Because I signed a pretty intense contract when I took on this franchise.
Right.
And it was owned at that point by Donald Trump. 2010, I took over the franchise. We did train, I called it I Am She. And we trained 30 women in the first year, and then 25 and 25. So a big lot of young women with great potential. And by 2012, I realized I loved the process of sending girls from India, but I didn't like the people I was working with. So I dropped the franchise in 2012. And at this point, my daughter is growing up, and I have already been very busy doing other stuff except cinema and acting and
what you do.
What I do, or I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
And then my daughter turns 8, Alisah. And one day she meets some paps under the house, and she says, Ma, why do they take pictures with you? So I said, because, you know, I'm kind of famous. So she goes, doing what? I said, you know, I was Miss Universe. That was a long time ago, Mom. That's true. Then I'm also an actor, but you don't act. You don't do movies. I said, because I'm sitting here with you, I wanted to be with you. He says, no, you just don't do it, Mom. I don't need you. I will never
They've
forget.
obviously seen your films from before, right? I
Yeah.
They know exactly what you've done.
Yeah, and they
on
didn't like it
screen.
very much also. Which was also, see, this is the thing about my children. They are a grounding factor. They just totally like...
They're not starstruck.
No. In fact, they're biggest critics of every little thing. They're very proud of the person I am, but they're not always very proud of the work I do, which is absolutely fair. When I saw her face, I realized that the time had come. I had delivered an individual who has a mind of her own and is telling me off and is saying, get off your inertia, break it and just go back to what you're supposed to do. Don't make an excuse out of me. I don't need you.
What you're about are two things. One is a scare that we'll speak about right at the end, but the other is the happiness that you brought to the lives of so many millions of Indians by certain choices you made, Sushmita.
Thank God.
And that's really like the number of women who were inspired by the fact that you raised two beautiful children. And a lot of people would have adopted, but the point is you actually went to court for both those children to be able to adopt them. That's crazy, right? I mean, how's that turned out?
They're worth the fight. I'll tell you that. They're worth the fight. I think, there's a lot of people in India that I have seen, Mayank, who want to be parents like me. And they have not put conditions of my bone, my blood. They just want to be parents. And it is a very difficult process in India to adopt. So it was wonderful that that is something that came to me naturally, and it allowed me to become a part of a very big class of people.
Like you ended up changing two laws, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't. It was all of us put together.
Right.
But
you were the face of that cause.
Yeah, that helped. Yes, it helped. But there were a lot of people who put time, money, patience, lawyers, everything to make this happen. And God bless the courts of India for finally changing something that needed changing.
And which are these two laws?
So the first one was single mother. So the last example of a single mother was a 29-year-old divorcee. So you always needed a father's name. You can't make a passport in India without it. No legal document. That law changed because I became a mother at 24 and a single mother who was fertile. So lots of other barriers were thing. I still had a problem at the passport office. I went there and they said, "Nahi, पिता का नाम." अरे भैया लिखा है मैं माँ हूँ, आप वहाँ पे डैश लिख दीजिए ना, यहाँ पे ये डाल दीजिए. नहीं ये नहीं होगा. So I went back to the courts and the court sent another letter, which is my favorite letter, to the passport office, which said you will be held in contempt of court if you do not put the mother's name.
Wow. Wow.
Happiness. You have to understand at 24, you're like...
That's nuts.
I think my judge and the court and the family court, the everything that's happening is like we are jumping timelines. We are moving forward in a way where this was it. And to this day, they have turned out beautifully and their passports read father's name not applicable. No, I'm very glad.
And the second law, I guess, Sushmita, would be the fact that once you've adopted a girl, you cannot adopt a girl again. Was that what it was? And you went to Supreme Court for this?
Yeah, this one we had to take quite a way forward because a lot of parents were trying. Because you see, there are no boys in an orphanage. Even if they are 1%, they get adopted immediately. So there are only girls. And now we cannot, as parents who are willing to adopt, have already adopted, cannot adopt another baby girl. So that defeats the purpose. So that was another thing. It took me 10 years to have my Alisah. It took us 10 years to win that. But we won on the 17th of November. On the 19th of November, which is my birthday, my daughter came home. She was literally waiting to be born. Like it happened.
On your birthday.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.